Fire, I'll take you to burn. Fire, I'll take you to learn. I'll see you burn.
Yo, Ram fans, welcome to Swollapalooza Thursday. I'm Steve Ivy, your host, and we've got a fun show ahead of us today. I will be having on in just a few minutes the third of three 2026 recruits, Jaden Ghoreishi from Spokane, Washington. I've already had Eric Fiedler and Pops Dunson. This is the top recruiting class in the history of Colorado State. We've had a chance to get to know Eric and Pops, and today we're going to get to know Jaden, and it'll be fun. We'll bring him on in a few minutes. I'll also, after I finish with Jaden, we'll spend some time talking about just some of the impressions I'm getting, seeing what I've seen around the Mountain West Conference in the last week or so, especially the last couple of games. And then I'll do a little bit of a preview of the Boise State game. CSU is up in Boise right now, and we'll be playing the Boise State Broncos tomorrow night. We'll do a little bit of a preview. Before I get started, I'm going to do the famous, please subscribe. Follow me on X at SwollCracker. Subscribe on YouTube at Crackers College Hoops. We did a thing a few days ago. I did a giveaway of a coffee mug for any subscriber. A beautiful $35 Yeti coffee mug. I wish I could do that for every subscriber, but I'd go broke. So, but we'll do that at some point down the road. But please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, the other thing I want to talk about before we get started with Jaden. First of all, let you know, I don't have a background like I normally do. I'm doing my living room scene today, and you can see the beautiful artwork. If you look really closely in the lower left corner, right behind this banner, you'll see a trophy of a senior club championship I won at Ptarmigan Country Club. If you look at over above the fireplace, you see this red painting, a very famous artist painted that, a guy named Dolya Goutman, who was the parent and dad of one of my close friends in elementary school. He gave the painting to my mom. They were both Russian, and they spoke Russian together. They got to be great friends when we were living outside of Philadelphia. Dolya has paintings hanging in the Philadelphia Art Museum. The steps that Rocky climbed in Rocky. Anyway, that you get to see the artwork here. You can see the trophy down here, right above my name, right above it. So anyway, but before I bring Jaden on, just one quick thing. Just a bit of an apology. I used some inappropriate words during my final bell show on Tuesday night following the loss to Fresno State. I was a little worked up. I wasn't real happy with the result. Many of us weren't, but I used some inappropriate words. I can't say it won't happen again, but I'll do my best to clean it up. And my mom wouldn't have been proud of me. Let's just put it that way. So she was a very important person in my life, and I'll try and honor her wishes down the road. So anyway, with that in mind, and by the way, let's feed some comments. I'm displaying comments on the screen today. If you have comments or questions for our guest, feel free to feed them our way. And if we see an interesting question, we'll ask him. And here he is, the man of the hour, Jaden Ghoreishi. Jaden, how are you tonight, man?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for coming on. The other guys, Pops, I had to, I think, and Eric, I can't remember if Eric came on live or if I pre-recorded. I know Pops, I had to pre-record because he's back on the East Coast. You're a little time difference, a little the other way, so 7 o'clock your time roughly. I appreciate you coming on live, and that's one of the reasons I do it, as I explained, is I love to get comments from people and questions. So if people have questions for Jaden, let us know. First, before we get started, just learning more about you, I read somewhere that you're out right now. Physically, you have something going on. Care to share anything about it?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, we were practicing and we were running up and down, and I started coughing up blood. And I called my mom and I was like, "Mom, I'm coughing up blood. This isn't right." And then we went to urgent care. They didn't see anything in my stomach, so then they sent me to the ER, and they found 7 blood clots in my lungs, and that put me out the rest of regular season. So I'm just hoping we can get to state and I can finish it because I'd be cleared for state.
That'd be awesome. I read that before we like I said, you got some fun stuff going on. If you can get ready and get to the state tournament, you got a team in your classification that has the top player in the country who transferred to Rainier Beach High School. That would be a fun thing to see. I'm sure people will look forward to it. I have a comment, by the way, from one of our Ram fans who lives in Spokane, John Konechny. Proud to see Spokane representing the Rams. He's going to come see a game. I'm sure you'll get to know him. He'll figure out a way to come see you. So anyway, let's learn more about you. How did what was your first what's your first memory playing basketball, Jaden?
Well, first memory, I would say it was probably kindergarten. I was playing with my cousin and we got beat by 60, I think. And it wasn't the best memory, but I was just out there having a good time and my mom was cheering me on from the sideline. It was fun, even though we got beat by 60.
I was trying to think back. I asked that question. My first memory of basketball, we had a hoop in my driveway, and I was in like second or third grade, and I had one bad summer. My first memory with a basketball was kicking. I broke 4 windows with 4 different balls in our house, and one of them was kicking a basketball and it went through my bedroom window. I, but so you started at kindergarten. Did you start? When did you start playing organized ball? Elementary school? Did you play in elementary school?
Yeah, so when we first started organization basketball for elementary school, it was fifth grade. And fifth grade was super fun because I was like way better than everybody, and everyone would just get out of my way when I'd have the ball. And I just remember just dribbling by people and just getting layups every single time.
Did were you always the tallest guy? I asked tall guys that just because some of them were small and had to develop ball handling, and then others got categorized as, oh, you got to play center because you're the biggest guy. But were you always the biggest guy?
Yeah, that was kind of me. I always had to play center. I was always the tallest by like 5, 6 inches.
That obviously, you had other development that had to take place, but did you feel like it held you back? Did you want to play on the outside too?
Yeah, I feel like as a little kid, everyone sees like everyone shooting threes and you want to be out there making moves, but like, I had to be in the post and learn how to get some post moves down before I could do that.
Did you did you play other sports growing up too?
Yeah, so I was a three-sport athlete. I played basketball, football, and baseball until junior year. Junior year is when I decided to just play basketball.
Okay. What position in football?
Football as a quarterback.
You were quarterback. We've had a lot of success with basketball players here at CSU that played quarterback. David Roddy, probably
Oh, yeah.
probably the most famous of them. But I used to tease Nick Clifford when he was throwing a football at tailgates, CSU football tailgates. I'd tease Nick Clifford and say, "You're not a quarterback." He goes, "Yeah, I should have been a wide receiver."
Yeah.
So when did you start focusing on basketball only?
Junior year.
Junior year. Okay. That's pretty typical. It's nice to see guys that play a bunch of sports. I know Eric Fiedler was a really good pitcher in baseball,
That's what he
and
was telling me.
had a chance to keep playing baseball, but chose to focus the basketball route. Did you growing up? Did you pattern your game after anybody? Was there any particular player who you liked watching and pattern your game after?
Ooh, I would say growing up probably until I'd say probably junior year, like just as a kid. I watched Anthony Davis a lot, and he was just like who I wanted to be, who I wanted to be like in the post, make some turnarounds, some fadeaways, everything. Just his game all around is pretty cool.
Um, so I was going to ask you to describe your game. Is your game similar to Anthony Davis? I've read you run the floor pretty well. I was told, actually, I talked to somebody when I found out we were recruiting you. I talked to somebody I know who's pretty knowledgeable up in the Pacific Northwest, and he referred to you as super athletic. Uh, do you run like Anthony Davis when he was younger? Because boy, that guy could run up and down the court as good as any big man there was.
Yeah, I would say we're pretty close. I definitely play above the rim most of the time. Love dunking the ball. Love getting block shots. Love offensive rebounding. Just love rebounding in general. But what I can do also is I can stretch the floor and I could shoot it too. So like when I was at Colorado State for recruiting trip, Coach Ali was like, "You you play positionless basketball, and we love that." So like I could do 2 through 5. I wouldn't say I'd bring the ball up, but I could play 2 through 5 and do pretty good at most of them.
Yeah, what's interesting about this offense, obviously the five is kind of you get the ball you get the ball a lot. The 2 through 4 are basically the same position. You just
Yeah,
move into different spots, and you're always moving, and it's really interesting to see a guy like I'm sure you've watched CSU this year, Kyle Jorgensen,
he's good.
who can play the five. And if you play the five the right way, you get to shoot threes as well. You get to pick and pop from the five position, so it's kind of a fun position. Do you see yourself as kind of in that mold? And Kyle can also play the four. Do you see yourself as kind of in that mold of a guy who's going to play maybe those two different positions?
Yeah, I would say more 4 than 5, but if there's like a smaller guy, say like 6'5", 6'6" guy guarding me, then obviously I'm gonna go in the post and help the team out, get some buckets in the post. But if there's like a slower big guarding me, go out to perimeter, take him from there, get a couple shots, and then see what we'll go for there.
It do you like putting the ball on the floor as well?
Oh yeah, that's what I've gone. That was my goal, and when I've gotten way better, I was dribbling just on the perimeter, getting by defenders, adding some moves to my bag. Just I've been working on that.
That's kind of an interesting, the other thing that can be done from that five position, if you can get faced up to the basket. There are certain sets where they'll face you to the basket, and they used to play Roddy there sometimes at the five, and Roddy would put the ball on the floor and just blow by people. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things you can do with a different skill set. So let's get into your, kind of the experience with CSU. When did you first have contact with Colorado State, and who was the first coach you ran into?
Ooh. First time I had contact, I'd probably say probably June of 2025, the start of AAU, because
Okay.
that's when I was on a circuit called Recruit Look, and Coach Tim Shelton was actually the first coach who called me and texted me consistently, like every day, and that I found that super like helpful in this recruiting process because for me it's about like relationships and stuff. And Colorado State Coach Tim Shelton especially like talked to me almost every day in the summer, and then leading to the visit. After the visit, they still talk to me every day, and that's just a big part. And then when I got to CSU, the visit was awesome. I mean, campus is awesome. Fort Collins is just clean in general. And then
I've
I
heard good things about Spokane area too, so I think that's kind of
it's all
cool.
right.
It's a little different kind of city, but I'm
Yeah.
glad you had a good visit. What about Fort Collins? Did you like? It's clean. What else?
I feel like I didn't even, I so like I wasn't I'm not even on the team, and people were asking for pictures and stuff. It's people love basketball there. I was like, "Oh, this is a good community."
Yeah, yeah. So Tim was the first one. Of course, you started to get. By the way, I love Tim Shelton. I think you're gonna love working with him. He's just he's well, he's going to be a head coach someday. Let's just put it that way. He's a great assistant, and someday he'll be a head coach. But you were recruited by a bunch of other schools. St. Mary's, I believe, Washington State. Ultimately, what was it about CSU that was the reason you committed?
I think just going back to the relations part and Coach Tim Schoen, especially because he's been talking to me this whole time pretty much. Um, just him reaching out to me every day, calling me every day, just talking about like just not even basketball, just like personal life. That just like it meant a lot to me. And then I went on a visit to WSU and it was like it felt like they didn't even want me to be there. And then I went to Colorado State. I pretty much like laid out the red carpet, like showed me everything, like got me everything, got me going to the field for a football game. That was super sweet. And then yeah, just the fit was there and I had a really good connection with all the coaches like right away. And then just the guys I love too. I got to play with them a little bit too.
Was it important for you to stay with CSU moving to the Pac-12? The fact that you're from Spokane, the fact that Pullman is just down the road, was it an important part of the decision of this whole Pac-12 and the fact that you're going to get to play in front of a lot of people that know you without having to travel to Fort Collins to come see you play?
Yeah, for sure. That was a big piece when they said they were going to the back Pac-12 and GU would be in there, WSU would be in there. I was like, so I get to come back here and play GU and WSU? Like that would be so sick because there's going to be a bunch of people that I know at those games that live here and just watching us play, watching me play, and that's going to be super nice.
By the way, I have a surprise for you. I'm bringing on a couple of other people. I have Eric Fiedler. I have Pops Dunson are joined us. Boys, thanks for coming in. I wanted to get the three of you together.
Yeah.
Eric, let's just catch up with you real quick. How are you? How's your season's going? Pretty well, right?
Yeah. Individually, well, as a team wise, we're doing pretty good right now. We beat our rivals the other night, which is pretty nice. Scoring wise, I'm doing pretty well scoring the ball. Right now, I'm averaging around 34, so doing pretty good scoring the ball. So
only 34. Jeez.
So yeah, just keep on going. We got a game tomorrow, and then yeah, so we're doing good.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are there. Pops, thanks for coming on, man. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm so glad I could get the three of you guys together. This is fun. First chance for you to, you've probably been FaceTiming or whatever, but first chance for our CSU audience to see all of you folks together. What's fun, and I've talked to you all, Pops, consummate point guard, Eric, consummate versatile wing player, and then Jaden, consummate versatile big. We got three guys to cover the entire floor, and as I said, this is the top recruiting class. How much? Let's start with Jaden. How much do you look forward to playing with these two guys?
Oh, I'm very excited. I've seen Eric's highlights and I've seen Pop's highlights. I follow them on Instagram and stuff, and they're balling. So I can't wait to be with them.
Eric, you have a pretty good big man at Chaparral, but you looking forward to playing with a big that can run the floor like this?
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. Can't wait to have a solid big for sure. Right now I'm playing the big for my school, so I can't wait to have another big player around me to help me out.
And Pops, do you have? I know you're good for 30 points a game, but do you have guys that you can pass the ball to that are as good as these guys?
Oh yeah. I already told him I'm throwing the ball up and catch it. I'm throwing a lot every trip. Jaden, I told Jaden I'm throwing it a lot. I don't know about Eric. Eric gonna catch it too.
who's gonna catch the lob for the dunk first, Eric or Jaden?
I'm giving that one to him, 100%. I'm not gonna take that one.
Anyway, I don't want to keep you too long. Next game, Pops. When's your next game, bud?
Oh, we got our rival game tomorrow too. since he was talking about rivalry games. We got to.
Do you really?
Yep.
And Eric, yours tomorrow night?
Yeah, we got Douglas County tomorrow night, which they're not really the best team, but we should just get the job done for sure.
Yeah, we'll get you. We'll see if we can get you more than 34. And Jaden, of course, is out. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let you go. We've had our 15 minutes with Jaden. We got Pops and Eric to join us. Guys, thank you so much. I'm glad I reached out just on a whim. I didn't know if you'd be able to make it, but thank you so much. We're so excited to have all three of you at CSU. Jaden, get well, get healthy. Eric, keep it going. Pops, keep it going, and let's keep in touch. Maybe we'll get together again sometime during the season. We'll talk more as we get closer to the state playoffs. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Steve.
You boy. Thanks.
All right, y'all boys.
I'll see you later.
Yeah.
How good's that? Three great guys. I just reached out to Eric and Pops this afternoon. I thought it'd be fun to have them on. Great to meet Jaden. Tough to hear that he's has some physical issues, but he'll be well and hopefully in time for the state championship. He did tell me behind the scenes he had some tests done and everything is negative, and it's the belief is that the blood clots were caused by physical contact. Basically, it's bruising. So he'll be back, just not for the regular season. He'll be back for the state playoffs. And as I said, there's a school in Washington that Rainier Beach that has the #1 recruit in the country. I don't know how they transfer rules are weird these days. They're not the same as when I grew up. Comment from my buddy Lee. Can't wait for them in November. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see them in June. These three kids are really, really good players. And as I said, this is the top recruiting class. A 1 and a 3 and a 4. And you know what? Jaden can play he'll be able to play the 5 as well. Eric will play 2, 3, 4, small ball 4, 2, 3. And Pop's definitely a 1, but he can play off the ball too because he can shoot. A lot like Rex Steiner, another kid from Georgia that can shoot. I'm jazzed. This is a unbelievable recruiting class that Ali has put together, and they're not just great players, but they're great kids as well. Ali recruits nothing but first class people. They've been very, very much fun for me to work with behind the scenes to try and get them to come on the show, and they've been real supportive. So I am so excited to have these guys coming. Anyway, let's switch gears. Let's talk about the Mountain West. Go around the Mountain West a little bit. Three teams. Three teams have positioned themselves at the top of the Mountain West for at-large bids. Whether we get 3 or not is a question, but Utah State is undefeated and ranked 23rd in the country. They're sitting at about 13th or 14th in the net rankings, about 20th in KenPom. San Diego State at 6-0 in the conference, coming out of a kind of a painful non-con, and then New Mexico at 5-1 has some good wins. They've done really well in the metrics and they've moved up. Basically, Utah State 15 in the net, UNM 42, San Diego State 50. So if you were to say what was going to happen today, Utah State's a definite. New Mexico was right on the edge. San Diego State has work to do. The next 5 in the conference basically have work to do, and you'd have to categorize them as having only a puncher's chance. But they're going to have to get crazy hot. And those 5 teams are Nevada, Boise, Colorado State, Wyoming, and Grand Canyon University. Nevada is 73 in the net, Boise 85, CSU 93, Wyoming 97, and Grand Canyon 103. As I said, puncher's chance, you got to get crazy hot. Just to put this in perspective, CSU, for example, has 4 losses. Last year, they finished the conference schedule at 16-4 with only 4 losses. Nevada is only sitting on 2. Boise is sitting on 5 already. They were 14-6 last year. They were one of the first teams out. So you're looking at teams that have to go play extraordinary basketball the rest of the way. Wyoming and Grand Canyon would have to play even better. The one thing, though, that I want to point out, and this is really, really interesting. So if you look at the Q1 and Q2 wins, Utah State and New Mexico are very, very well positioned in terms of wins in the top 2 quadrants. And that's an important measure. It's not the only measure, but it's an important one. They both have 4 wins, Q1 and Q2. San Diego State's problem is they only have 1, and their only win in quad 1 and quad 2 is a back-end quad 1 win over Nevada at 73. The top 75, you got to be top 75. You win a road game, that team is the top 75. You get a quad 1 win. San Diego State beat Nevada on the road, and that counts as a quad 1 win. If Nevada slips to 76, it becomes a quad 2 win. The real issue is they only have 1 win in all of quad 1 and quad 2, San Diego State. If you watch them play last night, they are starting to play really, really, really good basketball. They absolutely destroyed Wyoming. The game was close for 10 minutes. San Diego State built the lead to 13 at the half, extended it into the 20s, and ended up winning by 17. But they have a lot of work to do. They have got to take advantage of every top opportunity they have, and they're going to get a bunch. Not as many as you might like in quad 1, but they will get a bunch of quad 2 games the rest of the season in the Mountain West. Of the punchers, CSU is positioned best with 4 quad 1, quad 2 wins. None of them in quad 1. They are all quad 2. Boise has 3 quad 1, quad 2s. Then Grand Canyon has 2. Nevada has 2, Grand Canyon has 1, and Wyoming has 0 quad 1, quad 2 wins. So you can pretty much, unless Wyoming wins every one of the rest of their games, Wyoming has no shot. Grand Canyon has got to win virtually every one of their games to have any kind of shot. They're going to have to blow out the bad teams. Boise going to have to do the same. CSU pretty much has to go on a streak. Puncher's chance, odds slim. But when I mentioned the punchers, as I said, CSU and Boise are the best positioned with 4 and 3 quad 1, quad 2 wins, and which leads to why tomorrow night's game is so important. You know, one of the things before I get to tomorrow night's game, I wanted to mention one thing that I think is really interesting. And you've heard people talk about the importance of continuity in rosters. And of course, continuity is a dirty word with 1-year transfers, portal opening every year, people transferring, getting millions of dollars to play at a new school every year. But the teams that tend to do well, and there's proof, there's a lot of analytics that would show you that continuity is really, really important. And it's not, the Mountain West this year is a perfect example of why continuity is important. The top 2 teams that retained their rosters from last year are the 2 undefeated teams at the top, San Diego State and Utah State. San Diego State retained so many players: Miles Bird, Magoon Guath, Reese Dixon Waters, B.J. Davis, Miles Heide, Pharaoh Compton, Taj DeGorville. They basically retained their whole roster other than guys that had no more eligibility. They were top 10 in the country. Number 2, Utah State, they retained Mason Falslev, they retained Drake Allen, they retained Carson Templin, they retained Tucker Anderson. And so they were well positioned. They added some in the portal. San Diego State added in the portal, but it hasn't been the portal guys that have made the difference. It's basically the returning roster. What's really, really interesting, the team that's been the biggest surprise, New Mexico, had no continuity. They returned nobody, and they have a brand new head coach, and they're probably the biggest surprise in all of the Mountain West with what they're doing. Now, they did have some continuity in the fact that Eric Olin brought over a few people that played for him at UC San Diego. So it's not like the continuity wasn't with New Mexico, it was with the coaching staff. So CSU is down in the middle of the pack, but the team that was third is the team that's the most disappointing in the Mountain West right now, and third in continuity, Boise State. And I want to talk about them. So tomorrow night's game is really, really important. Boise is sitting, CSU is 2-4. Boise is 1-5. And these are the two finalists in the Mountain West Conference tournament last year. 2-4, 1-5. And it is an all-important game for both teams. Think about it with Boise, 1-5. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They brought back a team that everybody thought would finish top 3 and contend for an at-large. They're basically out of that unless they win the rest of their games. In fact, that might not even do it. They'd have to finish 15-5. They get a good seed. They probably would have to win. They might still have to win the Mountain West Championship, but you never know. But they're not in great shape. And tomorrow night, why is it important? Think about it. It's a resume dent if they have another tomorrow. If they play CSU's in the 90s. That's a Q3 loss at home. And if CSU gets inside 75, it could become a Q2 game for them. It's at least a resume builder if they win. And only win by a small amount and don't knock CSU further back than 93, and then they got to hope CSU gets hot. Could happen, but it's a resume builder, gang. CSU, the other way around, it would be a Q2 win. That would be their 5th Q2 win, which would be very, very important. And it could move to a Q1 win. CSU has no Q1s. All their wins are Q2s. CSU, it could move to a Q1 if Boise ever closes inside top 75. So it's crazy how important this game is, and just Boise, they're reeling at 1-5. They've lost their last 4 in a row. The last 2 home games. So the last game was the other night. They got beat in overtime by UNLV. It was actually a pretty exciting game. Not necessarily the best played game, but very exciting. And both teams fought hard, and it was a good conference game. I'll categorize it at that. But the last 2 home games, Boise's been smashed by double digits by, I believe, 17 by Grand Canyon and 25 by Utah State. The worst home loss for Boise State in the Leon Rice era, and something is not clicking for Boise. And a lot of people point to the portal and asking questions: did they whiff in the portal? They invested in 2 players. A guy named Drew Fielder, who came over from Georgetown, played 2 years in the Big East, started at the 4 for Georgetown. And they brought over a guy named Dylan Andrews, a guard who played 3 years at UCLA. And they immediately inserted them into the starting lineup. And a lot of people are asking, did they whiff in the portal? There's questions of whether Dylan Andrews is a true point guard. They had Alvaro Cardenas last year, who was not a great defender. He was an okay defender, but he was a good distributor of the ball on offense, and a lot of guys touched the ball. Cardenas led the Mountain West in assists. This year, Anderson has played Andrews. I'm thinking of Roddy Anderson 2 years ago, who was not a good point guard. Dylan Andrews is not a good point guard. He has games where he has no assists, but he finds a way to get 15 shots off. So he's more of a ball-centric guard, and he's not necessarily the most dynamic, consistent scorer. He shoots in the 30s in terms of percentage. So did they whiff in the portal? Those are two good players. They can hurt you, but they probably are not the kind of players that Boise necessarily needed. Fielder is forced to play center. He was more of a 4. He can stretch the floor. He'd be a nice player on CSU playing the 5, but it's a little different position than Boise runs. Did they whiff? They're good players. They just aren't doing what they were counted on to do. But the other question is, are the returners underachieving? Remember, they returned. They're a pretty experienced team. They're like 50th or 60th in the country. They're in the top 20% in terms of returning players. And Andrew Meadow, who was a honorable mention all-conference player last year, I thought he should have been third team. Jaden Buchanan, power forward, who is probably their best player, and he's been solid. He only played 10 minutes against Utah State last Saturday. He did not play against UNLV, and it's unclear what he's going to do, if he's going to be available tomorrow. But then the other guys, they had 3 other guys come back: Peanut Carmichael, R.J. Keene, Dominic Parolin, and they haven't seen necessarily a big jump out of any of them. Parolin was a transfer from I think Lehigh, from the East Coast. Good backup big, but doesn't really, I don't know if he's really added a lot. They also lost a player, Julian Bowie, whose dad, tragically, his dad died, and he chose to opt out of the season. He was a good shooting guard. He would have added to the shooting. Boise struggles with their perimeter shooting. Here's a comment here. Wish I do think Boise will figure it out before the end of the season, but might be too late. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It could start tomorrow night. It's got to start soon if it's going to happen. They can't afford to keep losing at home. Now, if they can start winning, they have played basically the toughest schedule in the conference to date. They have played all the top teams. They've played, other than Grand Canyon. They've played their 6 games. That's against 6 of the top 7 teams. So. What do you do? They got front-loaded with a schedule. They didn't respond to it. Had they done well, they would have gone on a roll, and they'd be playing for something close to first place. I got a comment here. Let me take a look at this. We can talk about this. Lobo fan worried for the future of the basketball program moving to a diminished Mountain West. Difficulty in retention of coaches. Let's talk about that at the end. I want to talk about that because, it's a melancholy year for me. And sometimes I love the game. I love that we're moving to the Pac-12. I love the new rivalries, but it's tough to say goodbye to some of these rivalries. Bronco Nation up in arms against Rice. Hope Rams can finish him off. I like Leon. They keep saying, we can do better. We can do better. He's given enough time. Leon Rice is a very good coach, and he's built that program up. And so he's got to figure out a way to get this team turned around. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's what do you say? It's fight or flight tomorrow night, right? It is. I think the tricky part is they have to prepare for CSU. Lucky they have people who have played CSU. Are comfortable against playing the offense. CSU's offense is hard to prepare when you only have a day and a half. But I expect Boise to come out fighting tomorrow. It is an orange out, and somebody needs to inform our guys. I don't know if they know this, but Boise may be wearing orange, but when there's an orange out, we never lose, gang, do we? We never lose. It's an orange out in Boise tomorrow night. Go Rams with the Aggies. So let's get on to CSU. obviously the game against Fresno was disappointing. Rashawn Mbemba had led the Rams to the last 10 minutes, had played really well and carried the Rams down the stretch in a win over UNLV on Friday night. And they went out to Fresno, and Rashawn was ineffective. He may be feeling a little bit beat up. It's hard to come back when you're big. You're against a lot of contact, and he's coming off an injury, and he's playing himself back into shape. So we'll see. We need Rashawn. Kyle, I'm sure, won't be back. If he is, I'd be surprised if he played more minutes. But, the team, I talked about this on my Tuesday night final score. We've been struggling to score, cold shooting. We have not scored more than 70 points in Mountain West play. We were scoring 90 a game, and now we struggle to score 70. And some of it is better. Teams in the Mountain West are used to playing against us. It becomes harder. The scouting is better. Some of it is on us. We are playing a little too slow. I talked about the fact we play at the slowest tempo in the country, slower than Air Force. We walk the ball up the floor. So we've got to see the ball popping a little faster. When it pops, when it moves, we're good. When it sticks, we are very easy to defend, and we struggle to get anything off. But I want to discuss something tonight, and this is kind of a fun thing. I've been doing a little research. I'm on a roll here. Okay, I've got a hypothetical for you guys that are out there, Ram fans that are out there. I've got a hypothetical for you. Okay, the hypothetical is this: there's two players. I've got two players, and these are stats over 40 minutes. Okay, stats over 40 minutes. Player A, 18.9 points per game over 40 minutes, 4.4 assists, 2.0 turnovers, 2.2 rebounds, 0.381 field goal percentage from three-point land. Okay? Player A. Player B, 17.1 points per game, a little less, 4.1 assists per game, a little less, 1.9 turnovers, a little less, 3.4 rebounds, about a 1+ rebounds more, 0.369 3-point percentage. Okay? Just a tad less. Okay? Those numbers are pretty close. Anybody out there with a comment? Who do you take? Player A, player B? Anybody out there? Anybody want to comment on that? Player A, player B. At least trying to guess who the players are. You're going to be surprised when I tell you who the players are. Lee thinks player A is Jace Butler. Okay? Okay. Anybody else out there want to comment? Want to guess who they are? This is fun. All right. This is a fun exercise. Come on. Who's out there? Guess. I want to see. You got the clock is ticking. All right. I'm going to let you know who it is. Okay. Player A is Brandon Rechsteiner. Okay. Brandon's playing about 30 minutes a game, averaging about 14 points, but those are his numbers. This is in conference play. This isn't over the season. This is in conference play. This is over 6 games, over 40-minute, his 40-minute numbers, 18.9 points per game, 4.4 assists per game, 2.0 turnovers per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 0.381 3-point percentage. Okay? Brandon Rechsteiner, player A. Player B. No guesses who player B is? I'll tell you who it is. Brandon Rechsteiner is a junior. Player B is a junior who played for CSU in 2022. Went by the name of Isaiah Stevens. Isaiah Stevens' numbers over 40 minutes were 17.1 points per game, 4.1 assists per game, 1.9 turnovers, 3.4 rebounds per game, and 0.369 3-point shooting percentage. Okay? Isaiah Stevens over 18 games in the Mountain West in 2022. Player A, Brandon Rechsteiner, the first third of the season. Okay. Isaiah was playing 35 minutes a game. Brandon plays 30 minutes a game. Okay. My point here is, so first of all, I am not going to tell you that statistics, these numbers, that you should just be driven by numbers. Okay. Because we haven't had a leader like Isaiah Stevens, a floor leader, basically a guy who was a coach on the floor. Isaiah started developing that as a sophomore, and he's my favorite player of all time. He's like a son to me. Okay, so this isn't to badmouth Isaiah. This is to promote Brandon Rechsteiner as a guy who needs to play more minutes if we want to start scoring more points. I don't want to get into all the details of the analytics, but CSU's offense runs a lot better when Brandon Rechsteiner's in the game than when he's not in the game. When other people come in at the point guard position, it's not as high. Brandon is not a great defender, but neither was Isaiah. But if we want to get things going, and we need to see Rechsteiner, from my perspective, move to become more of a 35-minute player with just getting a blow here and there. If you remember how Isaiah was used, Isaiah would play and maybe sit for a few minutes in the first half, and then in the second half, he would usually come out around the 12-minute, right before the 12-minute timeout, and come in after the 12-minute media timeout. So he'd get maybe a minute of court time missed, and 2 or 3 minutes or 4 minutes of TV timeout. So anyway, this is what telling me Ali needs to shrink the rotation. That's basically what I think has to happen. It's time to start looking at lineups, and I'm dying to see what happens tomorrow night, to see if they took a look at how they managed the Fresno State game. After they fought their way back to a tie, they went to the bench. The bench immediately fell behind by 7 points, and CSU never got back in the game. Anyway, that's just, I wanted to bring that up only because it's something, those are the kind of things that I think we need to be looking for tomorrow night. Will we get a shorter bench, shrink the rotation? The other thing is, when Jorgensen comes back, there will be challenges to figure out how to juggle Kyle, Rashawn, Carrie, Augie, Nicola. So they're already thinking about that kind of stuff. Not that Kyle will be back tomorrow night. I don't think he will be. I'm pretty sure he won't be. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up. I thought it was interesting. But tomorrow night is a classic fight or flight game between the two finalists from last year, and we didn't expect to be in this position. Neither did Boise. So by tomorrow night, they're either going to be tied at 2 and 5, sitting in the bottom third of the Mountain West with teams like Fresno and Air Force and San Jose State, or Boise will truly move into uncharted territory in the Leon Rice era at 1 and 6. That's how they started the first year they entered the conference, when they did not have a Mountain West capable roster. I believe they lost the first rotation they went through the Mountain West. They lost every game. Then I think they won 3 on the back half. I think they won 3 games that year. Since then, they've been a pretty competitive program. So, like I said, uncharted territory for both programs in recent years. Tomorrow is a big game, and it's one I'm looking forward to. So, as our president says, sad. It's funny. By the way, if you look hard, you look sitting right above my name in the background, you'll see a trophy. That's a trophy I'm very proud of. My senior club championship at Ptarmigan Country Club. Someday you'll have to ask me about the round I played in the second round to hold on to the lead. I could bore you for 2 hours talking about it. So anyway, I want to get back to this. So this is a comment before we go. So that's all I had for the preview and for the Mountain West. I think Pac-12 Mountain West missed golden opportunity to create promotion retention model in college cooperative conference. It's a really good point. I'm a big English Premier League fan. The whole English soccer system is built on relegation and promotion. The problem with doing this stuff in the U.S. Is with these colleges, and the reason why you'll never see it in the professional leagues is the money they invest, the players' contracts. I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the English Premier League, if you get relegated, you lose your salary changes, right? And if you have somebody with a long-term contract of more than a year, their salary should change because you're bringing in less revenue. If you get relegated, you're getting less TV money. You're probably having to charge less for tickets. You're getting less exposure, less of a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. I think it's an interesting concept. It would have been fun to explore, but the bigger issue, okay, the bigger issue is, and I haven't really, I'll talk about this down the road. And there's really, this is the comment you made down later. Not this one, this one. Oregon State and Washington State could have kept their millions of dollars. Oregon State and Washington State are lucky they had that money because it allowed them to survive the last couple of years. They have not been investing in athletics. And you read all kinds of, look at where they're positioned football-wise and basketball-wise. Oregon State's down around 200, Washington State about 150 in the net. There are Fresno, San Jose State level basketball teams now. They are not, quote, Pac-12 worthy programs now. 2 years ago, they could recruit. They had TV money. All they did was retain this money, and they tried to fund their stuff, but quite frankly, they're falling flat on their face. They had to survive. They had to buy their way into this conference, and it was their ego driving it rather than merging with the Mountain West. So I'm not going to get into that now, but at some point I might just launch. I'm not a big fan of what's going on at Oregon State and Washington State. And if you read stories about the NIL levels at those schools, they are significantly less than what the teams coming over from the Mountain West had. And it looks like it's survival mode for them. So I'll leave it at that. And that's a subject for another day. Should work for in college at Mount. Yeah, but here's the deal. They're heading toward longer term contracts. You're heading toward the only way these sports are going to survive. Promotion relegation ain't what's going to drive it. As wonderful models, I think that is. These are paid athletes now. These are not student athletes. These are the second biggest paying league. Division I college basketball is the second biggest paying league in the world behind the NBA. They're going to go to longer term contracts. They have to start treating the players as employees, and you'll start seeing longer term contracts. And so things will have to change. I don't think you'll ever see promotion relegation. Can you imagine the Dallas Cowboys? Can you imagine if you did in the NFL and then, how about the Colorado Rockies moving to AAA? They already play AAA level baseball, but imagine the financials, the bath that they would take. So anyway, it'll never happen. The owners, it's a gravy train for the owners. They don't want to deal with the risk associated with promotion relegation. But anyway, that's all I have tonight. It is a good discussion. Believe me, I love promotion relegation, and used to be there. It was a fun thing to watch in the English Premier League. Nowadays, pretty much all the teams that come up go down every year. This year you might see a little difference. It looks like there's 2 of the 3 that moved up, Leeds United and Sunderland. Looks like they're going to both stay up, and it looks like teams like West Ham and Wolverhampton will be dropping down. So along with the 3rd team that came up, God, they're awful, Burnley. So yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that maybe some down the road, but I'm really going to talk more about the future Pac-12. I'm excited about the basketball. You heard Jaden talk about it, how excited he is to be playing in a conference. He's going to get to play against Gonzaga in his hometown wearing a CSU Rams jersey. That's fun. He'll get to play in Pullman, an hour and a half down the road from Spokane. Boise is only, I don't know, it's actually pretty far. I think it's like 6 hours. Even Corvallis is like 6 hours. But anyway, he's going to get to play. We get new partners, new opponents, and it's going to be really, really exciting. A guy like him is going to be really exciting. So anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks to my guests, specifically Jaden Ghoreishi. What a wonderful young man. Really looking forward to seeing him play. Really praying that he gets well in a hurry, makes it back for the state tournament, and finds a way to take his Mount Spokane team to a state title. Fun to have Eric Fiedler and Pops Dunson pop in, get the 3 of them. The 3 amigos, like I said, the top recruiting class in the history of Colorado State University men's basketball. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you, Jaden, Eric, and Pops. I'll be on again tomorrow night with the post game, with the final bell show after the CSU Boise game. And I promise I won't be dropping any S-bombs. Thanks everybody for joining me. Have a great evening. Go Rams.